Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with my good friend Todd Baldwin. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on once again.
Absolutely, man. So the first episode we did today was really sparked by a capital gains tax, tax the rich, all of that stuff. But what I want to do in this episode is I want to share with you some research. I think I've spent probably 20 hours on, and what I've done is I've tried to get history from 1970 to 2020. And I wanted to answer a couple of questions. I wanted to answer what happened to housing during when interest rates rose, what happened to housing when interest rates fell. I want to understand the impact of wage increases because I think we were about to see a decade of wage increases. Just since I originally did that, I've also added CPI, 50 years of CPI, and also the S&P 500. So I got a lot of data I want to show you, and ask any and all questions, but let me bring it up and we can go through it. You ready?
Awesome. That sounds great.
So I don't know if you've seen this on my channel. So this may be the first time you're seeing this.
Oh, we'll see. I do watch you pretty regularly, so we'll see.
Okay. All right. So here it is. Have you seen something like this before?
I have, but this will be my first deep dive into it.
Okay. All right. So let me lay the groundwork here. And we'll just start in, actually, what year were you born?
I was born in 1992.
All right. Well, you're much younger than me. So we're going to scoot over a little bit. We're going to talk about 1992. Okay, here we are. Column X. So again, what I did and again, just so people know, I list all my sources of data. So if you want to go double check, go nuts. But here we go. In 1992, and again, I did this for all 50 years. What was the home ownership rate? I believe home ownership rate is the key to get on the property ladder, middle class wealth, all of that stuff. Median home price, national median home price. I calculated the home appreciation based on the year before, right? It was 96 and 91, and it's 98 and 92. Mm-hmm. Then I also, because again, I've always believed that price is almost irrelevant. It's payment, and that's interest rate. Mm-hmm. So the year you were born, the interest rate was 8.39% for 30 years.
Wow.
I then did a down payment, which here it's 10%. I actually made it a ratio so people could change it if they wanted. I guess it's off the screen now, but trust me, it's there. Then I did finance amount, which is just math, right? The down payment minus purchase. And then I did a payment. Then what I did is I found the median income for a family of four. This is not individuals. This is family of four. And by 1992, this was usually two people. Okay. I then calculate wage inflation or wage growth, right? From the year before here, 1.7%. I then take the monthly income, which is just 12 divided by that. You with me so far?
I am.
So then I calculate payment as a part of gross. And that's payment here is part of the gross. And then I do the down payment. Because again, what you find is that some years you're down payment constrained. So the down payment was 10% of your 30K income, or about 32%.
Got it.
So that's what I did originally. Just over the weekend, I went deeper. I found the CPI rate, consumer price index. So 3%. I then found because everybody wants to talk stocks, and I have zero stocks, but I added them. Then I did stock growth, right? 18% from the year before, right? That was a good year. And then I answered three questions. I wanted to figure out how much of stocks, home appreciation, and wages was CPI, right? CPI in your year was 3% right here, remember? So the S&P 500 grew 15% ex CPI. Home appreciation ex CPI was actually negative.
Right, it went down.
Wages ex CPI were even more negative. Right. So again, I did all of this for 50 years. Lots of things were very interesting here. So I did a spreadsheet called decades. And look at this, like the 70s. I don't know if you knew this, but in the 1970s, yes, 20 years before you were born, interest rates went up. They started the decade at 8.5, and they went up to 11. But look at homes. People are always telling me housing can't appreciate if interest rates go up. Well, I beg to differ. I consider 100% appreciation pretty good.
That's insane. You know, what's funny is actually my in-laws, so my wife's parents, they bought their house in the 80s, and I believe their interest rate was like 13%, something like that.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right?
It's crazy.
So again, right? Again, interest rates went up and prices went up. And again, it's because incomes went up, right? That's what not a lot of people say. So let's just go back and we'll relive some of the glory years. So like the 70s, right? Home appreciation, pretty steady. Wage inflation pretty steady. You can see we saw nice wage growth in 78 and 79, right? 20% almost in 2 years. Big connection, big jump in home appreciation. Payment as a part of gross starts to become a problem here because it's just too expensive, right?
Right.
Right. It actually got really nasty. Guess why this was? Look at your interest rate. That's where your in-laws were buying, right? Early 80s. Again, I actually talked to Matt, the mortgage guy, who's a broker, and you're getting nobody's buying homes at 39% front end ratio. It's just not happening. But yeah, but look at that. Housing actually didn't go negative. It got really low, but it didn't go negative, right? People don't, again, housing went, look at how people, this drives me crazy, right? 1977, interest rates 8%. I don't know, 1981, what's that? 4 years later, it went up 800 basis points. Thank you, Mr. Paul Volcker. Right? Paul Volcker? Peter Volcker? Paul Volcker, I think. Anyways, Volcker. So the reason this is important to me, because one of my questions I was trying to ask myself, Todd, because I think inflation is staring us in the face.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jerome Powell is flat out wrong. And there's actually a Fed president pre-Paul Volcker. I think it's William something. He was credited with the great inflation. He gets the blame for all of this. Look at CPI. Look at the CPI.
It's insane.
11, 13%. That is because easy money policy, and they were focused on jobs. They let easy money go, which is what Powell is doing today. And oh, by the way, at some point, Paul Volcker, the next Paul Volcker comes in and he has to jack up interest rates to cool off the economy. We're in the 70s is what I think. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and what's crazy is too this. I mean, this really does hurt the middle class and the poor, because let's say I think when interest rates were 16%, it looks like the median home price was what, 62 grand.
Yep.
Okay. So, if I'm Johnny Richman and interest rates are 16%, I'll go pay cash for that house.
It doesn't matter. Exactly.
Yeah. When interest rates drop, then I can refinance and I can pull my money out and pay, whatever it is when they drop. But poor people who don't have the cash to buy a house like that, they're going to be paying these huge points if they can get a house at all.
Or, as we know, they're going to be paying rent. And guess what happens when rents go up?
Yes.
Because this inflation thing that we're staring at, Todd, really scares me. I was born in the 70s. I do remember the gas shortages and getting in line and all of that as a kid. Oh man, I think it's going to, there's no way in hell it's transitory.
No, it's awful. And I think, I think this is just going back to like a lot of these policies that politicians want to put into place. They think that, oh yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do X to rich people so that it will benefit the rest of them. But it's not going to. Like, stocks and real estate skyrocketed this year and last year, but so did the price of gas. Yeah. But, rich people, we own stocks, we own real estate, or a combination or one or the other. And if gas spikes, well, I'm a freaking rich dude. I'll go buy an electric car and I won't have to pay gas, It's absolutely nuts. And I think it's almost criminal the way like they prop themselves up as like, we're for you, we're going to help you, but it really just hurts them
every time. I think Ronald Reagan has a quote that says one of the scariest phrases out there is, I'm here for the government. I'm here to help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That sends shivers down my back. One of the things I did is I wanted to capture the high and low. There's so much stuff in this spreadsheet. These are interesting, right? Home ownership rate was a low of 63%, 2015. So after the crash. High of 69, kind of that year right before things got nutty. Home appreciation. I didn't realize, and again, these are national numbers, right? Your city may be different. 16.6% in 1978. That is Jerome Powell's predecessor. Easy money, easy money, easy money. And the worst was 2009, negative 8.9%. One thing people don't realize is people, I'm sure you see all these channels talking about crashes. Here's a guy that actually does the work and invested through this time frame. The biggest crash we've had is 9% if you round up. What are these idiots talking about 40% in a year?
They just don't know what they're talking about, man. They're YouTubers that are trying to get clicks. I see that stuff all the time. Like they honestly don't know what they're talking about. It's ludicrous.
Yeah. But if you do it for 5 years in a row, what is that? 204 to 170. That's, what is that? 15% roughly?
Yeah.
So, yeah, about that, right? Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like
16, 17. Maybe,
yeah, 18%.
Yeah. So again, right? Again, nationally speaking, your market may be different. So again, some of the highs and lows that were interesting. Wage growth, 2020. Who would have guessed highest wage growth? 2010, negative wage growth. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Fixed rate mortgages, payment of gross. Oh, how about this? This drives people batshit crazy. Housing was most affordable. Again, payment to income, 2020.
Wow.
16%.
Wow.
Again, go back and look at it. It was never that low. Here it is. What row? Here it is. Payment percent of growth, 16%. Then 19, 21.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's usually in the mid 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's pretty crazy. What else do I want to say? Oh, then I actually did July 2021 because again, I did year to year and 2021's not over.
Mm-hmm.
Housing went a little wonky in July or 2021, right? It was 270 median in December. Now it's 363. Right. And then interest rates are down. Here's a question for you. Where do you think interest rates go from here? Do you think, right, let's just call it 3% today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think interest rates in a year are closer to 4, or do you think interest rates could actually get down in the 2s?
I actually think they could get down into the 2s.
Oh my God. Do you know what's going to happen to housing if that happens?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going
to go that way, folks.
Yeah. It's going to go through the roof. And the only reason I say that is I actually have a good friend who just did a refi and her refi rate was like 2.45%. Yeah. So no, inflation is a problem. It's tough it's tough to have these conversations because if you look at wages and there's a lot of speculation or thought about what wages should be today.
Sure.
Had wages kept up with the price of housing and healthcare and education, minimum wage today could be around like $30 an hour. Now I'm not saying it should be. I'm saying that's what it could be today, but there's a consequence to everything. And if wages, if you make $30 an hour to, flip burgers, then a hamburger from McDonald's is going to be $50.
Yeah.
So it all kind of works together and there's consequences to everything. Not to mention the more you have to pay for a certain good or service, the more motivated you are to automate that out with machines.
Exactly.
So I'd rather I understand I'm in a very privileged position with my income and how I make my money and all that stuff. But if I was a minimum wage worker and it was like, hey, you either have this job at $8 an hour or I hire a freaking machine to do it and you get no money at all, I'd rather take the $8 an hour.
Yeah. I actually did a video about a month ago or so, because I always get this minimum wage should be higher, living wage, all these different quotes. And again, that's not a new conversation, right? I've been having that since I was a freshman in learning economics. And I often say, you know what, stop telling me about 12 or 15 or 28 or whatever number it is. Let's just make it $50 an hour. I want every full-time employee to make $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about what happens. Well, a hamburger is this, and this is that. Because sometimes when you just talk about a little marginal increase, people don't see it. But when you make every full-time employee make $100,000, guess what rent is? Guess what this is? Guess what that is? It's just easier to people to see, I think.
Yeah. And I also think something that I guess will be offensive and controversial, but what the heck?
Why stop now?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in the idea that if you can't manage $1,000, you can't manage $10,000.
Oh, that's not controversial. That is, I mean, shoot, if you can't manage $100, yeah.
Right. It's like, I don't think that financial literacy is a consequence of wealth. It's that wealth is a consequence of financial literacy. What's the actor Nicolas Cage made like $150 million. He's broke today. He's broke.
Broke.
Yeah.
Broke. Not, broke.
And I know people who are in their 60s and they've retired with $1 million and they've never made more than 45 grand a year.
Me too. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's all about how you manage it, folks.
Yeah. This is a lot of fun. So again, how can people follow you, get part of your world? Because you're putting out some true fire.
Thank you. Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram at Todd J. Baldwin. Feel free to DM me there if you have any questions. And then you can also look me up on YouTube. Just my name, Todd Baldwin. And hopefully you guys like the content.
Thank you, buddy. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.